Welcome to Toffee TV. It is the final word. Everton 1, Chelsea 0. What a day. I'm joined by Ryan Williams from the USA Toffee Pod and Max,
Hello.
who went to... Is that your first game?
Yeah.
It's always like that.
Except for the Florida
Heck
Cup.
yeah.
Oh, do you go to Florida Cup?
Well, you see, that wasn't necessarily a home game, so
Okay.
I don't
But-
think we're
but-
counting
But
that.
you were there.
Every game is like that. That's what it's like all the time at Goodison Park. Every game we play, we
Blue smoke.
blue smoke. Well, dogs being carried, lifted high, like the wonderful deities they are.
Oh, okay.
Crowd surfing. You know. You at the pub at 10 a.m. That type of thing.
I mean, we that does happen
that's
every
probably
game.
right.
That's what Everton drives you to. Yeah, what an incredible first game to come to. I mean, unbelievable day, Ryan, to be an Everton supporter.
Yeah, it was a great time. I'd been before, obviously, and I try and explain to Max that is not typical. But yeah, it was brilliant. I mean, boy, it was a tough one though for a while. I mean, the emotion and. You know, Chelsea clearly fell asleep, but after that, I mean, it was intense, and yeah, it was incredible. The environment was really something. It was definitely better than the first time I went. I got to see Baines' banger against Leicester in the Cup. That was pretty fun.
2-2, yeah.
And that was a great match too.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was great, and the people were phenomenal too. I mean, you know, I send 2 or 3 DMs out, and everyone's like, "Oh, Ryan, you know, come meet us here," and you know, it was great. It was an excellent time, and I'm happy to be here for sure.
No one ever asked me to meet them. What's going on there? I need to start sending the DMs out.
Well, I probably had just as long a queue of people wanting to meet me for other reasons, but you know, I try and be nice.
Oh, Ryan does. Ryan, by the way, his Twitter is an interesting. I mean, I'll be honest. I don't want to go over this. I just don't know how you have the energy to argue that much on Twitter. But that's fantastic.
Yeah,
It's
that's
like politics, but on soccer.
It is very much like that. Max knows. He just knows. He looks at your Twitter and goes, "Oh my
big
God,
brain.
Dad, what have you started here?" No, it was such a huge day because Saturday's results were, well, the Burnley game was just soul destroying. I mean, I don't watch. I haven't been able to watch other teams play. I can't bring myself to do that. I find other things to do. A few weeks ago, I was telling everyone out, it was like I spray cleaned the yard.
You'd rather not know.
For 2 hours.
It's too
literally.
much.
It was, and then yesterday, even when the Leeds game was on, Leeds versus Man City, I went for a huge walk with the dog and the missus and completely went dark. Like I don't want to know what other teams are doing. So when I seen that Burnley had won, I was just like, and then they scored in the last 10 minutes. Again, I couldn't put myself through that. I don't know why you'd put yourself through that. So to go into this game, knowing really we needed a win, and obviously the fans had already decided what they were going to do, which I think is quite interesting because you hear this thing, and I've been hearing this thing for the last few years about manufactured atmospheres at grounds. Well, that's manufactured, but it's manufactured by the fans.
That's right.
To do their own thing, and that's what it's all about.
Yes.
And the way the bus came in yesterday, and the smoke, and the way the crowd got together, you know, a couple of hours before kickoff, it just started the process of an amazing day.
The support just made it already 2 times better.
Well, I think that's the key. I think you hit it. It's when the support organically are kind of doing things. And look, to get a lot of people involved does require some level of organization, so there's nothing wrong with that. Now, would I have stayed up till 3 a.m. and shot fireworks out at the Hilton downtown?
Yeah, you probably would if
Okay,
you were
all right, let's not talk about who we were hanging out with. I don't want to incriminate anyone out there, but...
Except for Baz.
Huh? No. Is that why Baz
No,
is...
I'm joking.
Baz has had the late nights, and that's why he's not here.
No, it's true. Yes, some people took some credit for it that I may or may not have been in a pub with. Bravo to them. Didn't get much sleep, but they were still there making noise at Goodison. And I mean, you can hear my voice, man. I was all fired up too. It was a heck of a day for sure.
Oh, I'm exhausted by it. I really am.
Yeah.
It was so, like the fireworks stuff for the Hilton. I actually mentioned this on a show last week. Look at it. It was on a Patreon show, and I actually said, you know, if anyone's got any fireworks, I didn't know what hotel he was staying, but I said it tongue in cheek. I was like, you know what, if anyone's got any fireworks and they are around about 3 o'clock in the morning, then, you know, feel free to do it.
So you incited the riot?
Maybe I did. I mean, I don't think so.
Come on, we thought you were a better person, Baz.
Well,
Baz,
you know,
Ped.
Baz isn't a better person. So that's fair enough.
True.
But no, that just started. But the thing about that is, listen, do I truly believe the Chelsea players heard those fireworks? No. Because that particular hotel has a nightclub downstairs, which I'm pretty sure is louder than those fireworks. But I think waking up on Sunday morning, seeing that stuff, I think that helped the mood of people going, oh, we're doing this.
I know. I laughed out loud.
We're doing this.
I laughed out loud. I saw it on Twitter. I just get up. I'm like, that did not happen.
Yeah.
What are we? That's like proper CONCACAF.
Yeah, that's
like qualifying. That's what we're used to.
That's what you want to do. But I think waking up to that is like, yeah, that's we're doing this. So seeing the bus was amazing. And fair play to all those people. All the smoke, all the smoke bombs or whatever you call them. Not flares. They're not flares. And obviously that got everybody excited for the game. The atmosphere was just brilliant inside the ground. And you know, before the game, just really set the tone for the day.
Yeah, it was an interesting match too, really. You thought, we sat back quite a bit, but there's still a lot of chances on both sides. And there were just those key moments that all year we have completely failed in, And yesterday was those moments, and I don't know if part of that's crowd. Part of that's inspiration, part of that's, how can you not be concentrating when it's just a cauldron like that,
This was just like our day. I mean,
Yeah,
everybody was on point,
worked
pretty much.
hard because I've been going to Goodison Park for a very long time, Max, and that I haven't seen too many atmospheres like that.
Yeah.
But even not so long ago, you go back to a game like the Wolves game where we got beat 1-0, and it was it was a Sunday afternoon. It felt very sterile. On the day, it was more nerves. The fans were quite nervous about the game, and it's like that. It's like one of those where we weren't obviously in the relegation zone. People aren't quite up for it because
they feel uneasy.
Yeah,
and Wolves do not play a very exciting
and
brand of football.
and they did on the day. They did to us what we did to Chelsea, but it was just this general unnerving feeling around the game, just this nervousness. When Duncan Ferguson had his game against Villa, it was very the same. It was an early kickoff. It just felt, even though people want to be up for it, but they just can't quite let themselves go. Whereas on Saturday, everyone just did. There was a general acceptance.
First second, like bang.
General acceptance that everyone had to let them go because of where we were. And it's no one's fault, but you just think back and go, oh, if only we'd done this and if only we'd done that as a fan base. But on Sunday, we did do that. And I think that just doesn't let players let up. Players just can't let up. They're not going to get away with it. Not that anyone was getting on anyone's backs, but you can imagine a player, how they feel in that kind of atmosphere.
Yeah, be like, I better turn it up.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't sit there. And I mean, even if you didn't feel up for it, I mean, you were up for it in 5 seconds. So you make a great point. When you rolled in there, I mean, you're immediately yelling. You're immediately making noise. You're totally fired up. And that's how it was. I mean, from like start to finish all the way through, man. It was intense. It was exhausting.
Yeah,
like
it was exhausting.
Yeah, but I mean, how crazy is, I remember when I was booking tickets and Max really wanted to go over. He's never been to Goodison.
Yeah.
So I thought, you know what? This would be a good one. Let's check it out. Let's do it. Yes, he is missing school. But the cultural impact of
this, I've told you this before, you are learning more about YouTube, which is your future career, than school teachers about calculus. When are you going to use calculus? Never is the answer. Then they're on a fishing trip. So
anything that they tell you, you can probably look up.
Listen,
find out in 2 seconds.
You've got the internet. And also, who is really telling the truth these days? Yeah, exactly.
You're just
you've got to question everything now, Max. This is the world we live in.
Do we though?
Yeah, oh yes.
There it is already, Max. Way to go, buddy. So, but yeah, I mean, so for his first match, this to me, it was pretty entertaining. And yeah, I mean, look, let's be honest. When we go, I mean, as you have gathered over the years, I'm a little bit analytical. I get into the tactics and stuff. And but yeah, it wasn't for me yesterday. Yesterday was pints of Guinness and fire and brimstone when we got in, which is nice. It was actually very nice for me to turn off my brain a little bit and just kind of get out there and make some noise. And my voice is certainly not recovered yet.
Yeah, and obviously, it was great. We got Yerry Mina back in the lineup. I was actually quite surprised he started with Holgate because I was thinking Michael Keane might start the game. But I suppose when Mina's playing, he makes everyone better. He makes everyone better. And Holgate, I suppose, has got the pace and maybe is a bit more like for like than Ben Godfrey than Michael Keane is.
Yeah, I think that's true. I think you get a kind of feeling Frank's isn't confident throwing Michael Keane in there, and I think in terms of a pairing, if Yeri's going to be your guy, kind of your solid person in the back that's going to be the rock, Mason Holgate does do a good job of stepping forward. And tactically, Delph, I thought would be sitting between the lines the whole time. He really wasn't. He came out more, and I think then Holgate is probably a more natural person to fill in that regard, although it really changed when they went on the second half and just ran everything down the right side. That was really pretty fascinating, but I guess at that point, I don't know why they made the sub they did at halftime, too. That was a very fascinating sub, but, I mean, that goal, goals change games. Yeah, that's really what happened.
What did you make of Iwobi in the lineup? Because just feeling...
Is that just because I'm on the show? You have to...
No, generally, because it's an interesting one, because obviously he started out... At first, I thought he looked like he was just literally man-marking Alonso, and then the more the game went on, I was like, no, he's actually playing like as a second right back. Well, it wasn't like he was playing wing back, because we weren't playing wing back, but it was like he was playing as a second right back, and it was such a weird position for anyone but Iwobi. But yeah, he did it quite well, really.
Yeah, I thought the same thing. I thought initially when I was watching, he was just out there to man mark Alonso.
Yeah, he countered it perfectly, actually.
Yeah, right, and Alonso is obviously not known for his defensive specialty. But that being said, he just kept people on the outside. Mikalenko did a decent job on the other side too, just keeping them out. And really, if all you're doing is getting into wide spaces and cranking crosses in, who is going to get on the end of that one? And I cannot help but think you've got a guy in your bench that's about my size there, who's a heck of a player that Tuchel just doesn't seem very interested in using. But Alex Iwobi, to his credit, the guy's shown not just ability to work hard, but a lot of adaptability, flexibility. And, I mean, if you think of a guy who's probably a more natural left-sided player than a right-sided player, and we've seen him play right wing back, basically. And you're right, he changed a little bit. Now, granted, I felt like they rotated over a little bit more when they started attacking almost exclusively down the right and overloading in the second half. But, Alex didn't get the ball a lot. He wasn't running with it like he had in previous matches, so kudos for him to playing a different position. But the guy worked. He was tough. He battled. He went in and stuck a couple guys a few times. I was like, whoa, Alex Iwobi,
No, I mean, that's credit to Frank Lampard, I think, for obviously taking a player who, I mean, I've said it myself, I thought he was the worst signing Everton have ever made in their life. Just pound for pound, fan. And that's... He's never been played in his true position. He's stuck out as a winger. He's not a winger. He's got no pace. He hasn't got the pace to be a winger. He doesn't move the ball in a way a winger does. So he is someone who...
He doesn't have pace with the ball in a wide space. Like, he runs with it pretty well, but he's better down the middle when he can. And he actually passes pretty well. Lots of through balls, keeps it on the ground at top speed. Not a lot of players do that. So to play him wide, he's never going to exploit that. He's a half-space player, maybe.
Yeah, he's been wasted because obviously we've had other players who've played in that position.
True.
And he's been like the spare part, which is basically... tells you the story of Everton's recruitment in the last 5 or 6 years.
You got it right, man.
Buying players who can play, who we have in multiple positions.
Yep.
So fair play to him for the way he's grown into that number 8 position, but then given a job, given a task to do in a game where really what your job is to stop this guy from doing his job the whole game.
Yeah.
That's, I think, for an attacking player, that's really difficult because you want to go that way all day. And if some guy says to you, go run that way all day and stick, that is real. That's away from being like what an attacking player does. Especially like someone who wants to play in that free role, who wants to play off the cuff, to be disciplined. And I thought he did that role really, really well.
Yeah, he went into pretty much every ball very confidently. So I think that helped us a lot.
Well, I think the difference is for a player that's known for being great in the final third, the fact that he has the adaptability to go back and do that. And I think it also, you could tell he's probably inspired by Frank's trust in him.
And I think that set the tone for a lot of the team, because obviously Gordon and Gray had to do a lot of that in a different way, but their jobs were for a lot of the time were just to hold their positions, keep that shape, and make Chelsea have to, try and go around the long way all the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're all doing it very well, too.
They did.
Yeah, they pushed him outside for sure. And I mean, we saw a lot of what we normally see out of Gordon in terms of trying to be vertical. I really wish he was not as wasteful on the first
Oh,
two
he was-
free kicks.
yeah.
Oh,
my
yeah, dear
God.
God, dude.
What the heck is that? But yeah, it's similar. Like Frank's doing with Iwobi much what Benitez did with Gray. Meaning as, look, play fast. Don't dwell on the ball. Because when I watch Gray play at Leverkusen, he drove me crazy. It's like you're killing the team by just dwelling on it. And he has great skill. He strikes the ball incredibly well, but he's
Yeah.
more effective when he's not thinking and just flying. Yeah. And Benitez, I'm convinced, basically said, hammer the ball as hard as you can right to the 6 every time. And when he's doing that, he's great. Boy, I'll tell you what, though. He almost scored at the end, and that place would have just gone. Mikalenko was the one, though, really, that I thought had it. You know,
Dear
if he
God.
just goes across,
We
across the
did.
How does he
goal.
miss it?
No, I don't understand how he missed it on his left foot.
Yes,
but we'll
right.
come back to. So obviously, I think for the first half, it was a case of there wasn't a lot of chances. There was a couple of half chances. I think Gordon pulled one wide, and there was a couple of little moments. They had. I mean, I'll tell you one thing that really annoyed me in the first half was they had a shot. I think it was from Mason Mount, where Werner dies. The referee tells him to get up,
Yeah, but doesn't. Yeah.
but doesn't do anything, like doesn't book him, doesn't stop the game, doesn't give a free kick. And Mason Mount gets the advantage and nearly scores from it.
Yes, that's right.
What is going on in the rules of the game?
Like, why are we giving the advantage if they
Exactly.
have the
Why
ball?
you give, last week we had a guy booked and basically had this whole reputation, Sully for the the whole week, and then this guy dives, they get the advantage and nearly score from it.
I think that it was helpful, though, that he actually was willing to administer a couple yellow cards to them in the first half. That probably did change the dynamic a little bit. Yeah, that was
Agreed.
ridiculous. You're sitting there saying, I just wish, why can it not be somewhat consistent week in, week out?
Yeah.
Why is that? I mean, you've been going to games for how long?
Lot of games.
Would you say the officiating is better now
No,
than
it's
it
worse.
was?
It's worse. It's
Yeah.
so.
Why do
They
you
are,
think that is?
they are so reliant now on the technology.
Yeah, I
but
agree
also
with
it's not like a. It's obviously it's human nature to think that there's a person looking over your shoulder, but also I think it comes into like what's happened in the last few years as well with the assistant referees now is that their jobs are simply to give throw-ins. Like they don't do. So in old money, in the old days, Max, if they saw a foul, they'd put their flag up and say there's a foul there.
Yep.
They don't do that anymore. They don't. I know they can talk to the
Do you see
referee.
that at
They're
your
having
level?
like second thoughts every
They don't even
time.
have first thoughts. They don't. They just. The referee used to have that guy to rely on, and they probably think they have the VAR, but the VAR doesn't get involved in things like that.
Well, the sad part is the VAR is supposed to be an assistant.
They don't even use it right, which is...
Nope, they don't use it. They definitely don't use it right.
Yeah, the
Heck
Premier
no.
League loves doing their own thing involved in it. But you're right. I mean, we got to halftime and not a ton of chances
No.
either side. I wouldn't say the game went exactly the way I thought. We didn't quite set up the way we did. But
Yeah.
I was very curious. I don't know how you felt, at least at halftime. I'm thinking, okay, 45 done. The last 5 were a little dicey, too, because I saw them coming on a little bit. And I'm thinking, all right, Tuchel's going to change something.
Yeah.
He's going to throw a curveball at us. He's going to dial something up. And I think he obviously made the sub. I guess he took Jorginho out and brought in, Mathew Kovacic.
Kovacic,
Yeah,
Right. So
Kovacic.
brought him in. He's maybe, he's not better on the ball, but he's different. He's more of like an 8 necessarily.
Yeah, I think
than
they were
like
trying
a
to drive
6.
through the middle, weren't they?
I think so, yes.
And I think that he had that one opportunity towards the end to show that. And I think, as you said, there's not much difference there. I don't watch Chelsea lots, so I'm sure a Chelsea fan could tell me the in-depth reasons, but I think they were just trying to prod more through the middle because they were just getting no joy going wide. Especially with someone like Mina on the pitch who dealt with everything and obviously was getting Kai Havertz wound up as much as he
Yeah,
could.
he got so pissed at him.
He did,
It wasn't
he did.
even funny.
That's going in the swear jar.
Actually, it was pretty funny.
It was really, really funny. It was really... Let's just have a look at Yeremía's numbers. So touches 27, clearances 4, interceptions 1, duels 1, 4 out of 5, key passes. What's actually interesting there about the duels is that he only had 5 duels.
Yeah.
Like that shows you like how well we probably did to even stop the ball getting to Yeremína.
Well, I think I noticed the change in the second half. Havertz was playing almost wide right at times. It's almost they vacated any idea that they thought of going straight down the middle, at least, route one-ish and direct once they get into the final third. They were trying to play in between the lines, but weren't particularly successful with it. They weren't playing very fast. But yeah, I mean, every time it went down the middle, unless it was on a set piece where Rudiger got up once, I remember, Mina would just, I mean, he was just too much for them.
Yeah.
I don't like, maybe it's the traditionalist in me, but I think it takes a very, very unique player to play in kind of a truly false nine role, and I've seen Havertz play it pretty well, but I don't think he played it well, and maybe Mina got in his head, I don't know. But
He
it
was
almost
just
like,
extremely sound.
yeah, I mean, he's just tough. Yerry Mina is just a difference maker on this team. He's far and away the best central defender, and you could tell he likes that type of
he
game.
loves it.
100%.
He thrives in it. You know?
He absolutely loves it. Of course, we got exactly what we needed just after half time.
100%.
Big Dave at the back for them, Asalaqueta.
What?
Let's a
What were
ball
they
just
thinking?
slip. And Richarlison did exactly what Richarlison had done all day, just hammering people, getting there first. Got the touch. Obviously, Gray got the second touch. Probably could have been a penalty if we hadn't scored. And luckily enough, Richarlison was just onside, and obviously he's swept it in, and the whole place went. The
It's
whole
just willpower, man. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
He probably
had it.
deserved it too. So
He deserved it for how much running he did.
definitely.
Any comment on the throwing of the
No,
pyrotechnic?
he was clearly just throwing the pyrotechnic out of the stadium to a safer place. He was actually doing the safety officer's job for him. So he should be commended. In fact, I think he should get a letter from the fire brigade on that. And anything else anyone says is they're wrong.
I mean, he's just a benefit to society in general.
He generally
you know?
is. Generally is. He's an upstanding
Just gotta keep
citizen.
thinking that.
He's concerned about the greater people of
Yeah.
Liverpool. I mean, come on.
No, it was a great finish, and obviously the place just went berserk. And
It was a little surreal. Like, what just happened, you know?
Why did he not throw it at Mendy?
I think that might have got him into trouble if he'd thrown it in
Yeah,
the
maybe.
direction of a human being.
He just went over and just gunned it to Chelsea's bench.
That
Yeah,
was.
this is your color, by the way.
That would have been a bit of a
Is
negative.
this yours?
But then,
Yeah.
you knew what it was going to be
I
after
heard-
that. You knew it was going to be us sitting back a little bit, absorbing pressure, and it was going to be terrible on us.
But I honestly don't think Frank Lampard could have scripted it any better to score just after half time. Meaning we've only got one half to deal with it, because when we played
Couldn't
against
have
Manchester
asked for
United,
anything more.
when we played against Manchester United, they got the goal early. Then it was like we've got 60 minutes of this. Against them, it was only 45. Ended up being about 55.
Yeah. Big 7 minutes.
But mentally, I think just getting it just after half time,
Yeah.
give everyone just that huge lift. And then it is, can you protect it? And I thought what was an interesting part of the game as well was the fact that he only started Delph and not Delph and Allen. And it meant that Delph could kick someone at least a few times, get a yellow card, then bring him into the pitch as well. But we just got our shape then and stayed in our shape and hoped that we could get that few counter-attacks. And you mentioned it before, that Mykolenko one. I would have feared for the safety of the whole stadium if that had hit the back of the net, because we did the same thing. We got them high. I'm not actually sure why Decore didn't have a shot, because I thought he was clear to shoot.
Yeah.
But he puts it onto Mykolenko, and on his left foot, I thought, it happens in a split second. And somehow he made himself look like John Joe Kenny, which is, I don't know how you do that, but it was, it's on your foot.
I know, he's better than that too. I mean, I know he's not the most dynamic attacking player. He's still a young player, but yeah, you got to do better than that. I cannot believe he just didn't hit a Truss goal.
Yeah.
But yeah, that one, I really did. I don't know, I thought he was going to score. I absolutely thought he
Same.
was going to score. On his strong foot, I mean, it looked like the whole right side of the net was there. You know, we had a pretty good angle on it, and nope, was not to be.
And you
Heck no.
you just think, and things like that, they're the moments
Is
where
that
you
gonna
do
cost us?
think, is that going to cost us? Because tactically, we were spot on at that point. We were
I agree.
doing everything we needed to do. We were, people hark back to last week, and there's so many debates about the Liverpool game.
I thought our setup was good on that one today. Look, I mean, it's one thing to defend and have no threat
Yeah.
to counter. We had threats to
Yeah,
counter,
exactly.
especially in the last 10 minutes now. You also kind of wonder, how comfortable is Thomas Tuchel's Chelsea team playing from behind like that?
Yeah.
And they haven't done it too much, and they just don't look like they want to be expansive. He wants his 3 center halves, he wants to, and he made some subs that were a little bit aggressive. I was a little concerned when Pulisic came on.
We'll come back
Yeah.
to the subs, because
Yes,
I will
sir.
mention them in a moment. But
Yeah.
we got obviously probably the biggest moments of the game, which was the double double save.
Yep.
Oh my God.
Kai Havertz actually was really. Kai Havertz actually, I didn't realise he was as good in the air as he was, because I thought he was really good in the air in this game. The header he makes is really good.
He's just not big, you know what I mean?
Mason Mount, who I thought was just, I just thought he was amazing. Just his first touch is just incredible. Like I've watched him a few times. Sometimes you don't. Because he had a lot of the ball, you get an appreciation for some players when you see them up close, and I just thought he was so good. Like, if there's any issues with Chelsea's ownership this summer, if I was like Man United, he'd be like the first player I'd go and buy. He hits a shot, and now it hits one post and hits another post.
And I'm like, oh crap.
Well, yeah, because you just see this big open goal,
you're like,
and you see Jordan Pickford's over there, and then how he saves that, I'll never know. And in fact, he runs behind the line to make sure that he gets his body in the right shape.
It was close, so I kind of wonder, like, you're playing with fire a little bit there if you can't get your hands out in front of it. But he did.
The save was amazing, but I honestly thought I was going to see the ref go.
Yes, I honestly thought. Right, because he looked so deep in the net. Look, I'll tell you what, I've been pretty critical of Jordan Pickford. Numerically, of course, I have to bring up stats, we can look at his numbers in a second, but ultimately, he's still not performing great against kind of post-shot expected goals. You want to see him save a little bit more. But to me, I mean, he was the guy yesterday. I mean, he in those big moments came up so big, and I'm kind of I've been waiting for him to steal one for us, I
think you're right. I think
he's not made great big mistakes this year, though. So I think the general fan perception is he's been better this year.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean. There are. I mean, the media in this country are obsessed by Ramsdale.
Yes, they are.
And I think he does tend to make saves that sometimes either look more impressive than they are, or are really important moments in the game for Arsenal. I think that's the most important one. How a save fits into a narrative of the overall game. And I think this save was the save where, you're right, Pickford last year, Pickford has been, from what he has been so much more consistent, and he's not been doing the silly mistakes.
True.
And you're right, when maybe you dig into the numbers, should he be making saves that sometimes the ball goes in, you think, well, a world-class keeper may have pulled that out, or that kind of thing.
But you don't have, not everything has to be a referendum on the player. Like, I can sit there and tell you that, okay, Pickford's making, $100K a week, and he's the fifth highest paid keeper in the league. Is he the fifth best? Who cares?
Is he worth it?
Well, what matters is that yesterday, in multiple key moments, I think the save on the ground, to his right, was excellent as well. Yeah, and look, he does some things well. When he's just allowed to make a natural save out of instinct, he does fairly well. His hands are incredibly strong. You're not going to get it through him, at least at a minimum.
Especially low.
Oh, yeah, he's awesome low. He is. It's questionable technique, with his hands so low sometimes. Not that I'm some goalkeeper guru. But yeah, I think,
there are moments. I think there was something last week. I won't name who done it on the TV, but there was a pundit last week did something about one-on-one goalkeeper, and he one-on-one.
I retweeted that as well.
One-on-one goalkeeper, and I don't think is his massive strong point. When and sometimes you it's that thing with goalkeepers where you can choose when someone's one-on-one, because everything is in the favour of the striker. You ignore the fact that the keeper saved or not, and then go, well, what chance did he have to be like one of those top goalkeepers? What you're saying is, well, you do save those ones.
Sometimes at least,
you do make it hard for them. And maybe that's where he has to improve. But just in consistency, I also think just as well this year, as he's grown, his leadership qualities have grown. So now when anything happens on the pitch, he gets over there like he's the captain and makes sure Seamus Coleman's over there. And I love that kind of thing as well.
He spreads the energy.
That's a good word. That's it. Well, when you're a fan, you want to see that kind of thing. You want to see the guy standing up for you. And I think beforehand, he was the guy who, last year, was the guy who was like bringing us down. But now, when I see Jordan Pickford running over, I'm thinking, that's exactly what I want.
Look, the bottom line is, though, we need him to be really good for the last couple matches. And, a great match or two by a goalkeeper can bringing 3 points on its own. And I can't say he stole it for us necessarily, because I thought we played a good match, a well-intended match and a well-organized match, but he was a big part of it.
Yeah. Let's just look at his numbers. 34 touches, 5 save, big chance of save, 2 claims, 2 successful long balls, 6. And yeah, he just, anyone on the outside will probably say he did win Everton the game, because that save is so good. It came at a moment in the game with, half an hour left.
Yep.
And then follows it up with, they get the corner, of course. I mean, number one, I don't know how he doesn't score from the header, because I think it's a free header. If he hits that anywhere in the goal, I think it's going to be, hard to save. And then obviously it leads to, I think it's Alonso gets this, and then comes out big, takes it right in the face, or the keeper, as he said. And it's just huge. And what that tells me actually is, and this is where I think before last year when he had sort of the great reset, it was in those moments after he made good saves that his concentration would be lacking. And this, for me, showed where he is as a goalkeeper right now, that he can make a save like that and he doesn't get caught up in the moment.
Because he's excited, I mean.
Well, he used to get really excited, like really, really excited.
It's like whenever you're close to the goal and you're like, oh, crap, am I going to shank this? And it's like, you're just like, oh, my God, I'm going to score this.
Well, to him, it was like he'd had a bag of jelly beans. That's how excited he was.
He would just flail something. Like, and I go back to the derby, the first goal they scored. Yeah. I think Jordan kind of sometimes just operates on instinct and flails himself out. I think in that moment he did a little bit of that, but he seemed like he had more purpose. He was more a little more measured. Yes, he was more in control. And he took it off the face, but he was in the right spot, and that counts. You're allowed to save.
You're allowed to save with your face. It's part of your body. It doesn't always have to be your hands.
That's right.
And it was a huge, and that was just. It was just that, and what actually did, I thought he did really well. He probably stayed down longer than he needed to. He probably just made sure.
No winking today, though.
No. He calmed himself. He calmed everything down, because in that moment, that was the only real time in the game when I thought we were. Some of our players looked really tired in that moment, like they'd been pulled around the pitch for the last 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and that can take it out of you. And I just think that we're getting through that moment, give us the breathing room to just reset the whole team.
I think that's a great point.
If you're defensively tired, you kind of need that sometimes.
And of course, because you switch off up here.
But you said leadership. You're right. A keeper knows that. Yeah. They have a feel for the match. I mean, the one thing that he has that's different, he sees everything out in front of him. So, you made a really good point. That may have been as critical a moment, just laying down there.
I think some of our players in the last few weeks have started realising that. Because we say it all the time. It's like
we just need more leads.
You just need more, but you need times like you need players to just realise that the game sometimes just needs calming down.
Yeah.
Or there's other things like we spoke about last week. It's like when we played Brentford and they got the penalty. It's like the guy lying down on the floor was the reason that the VAR guy probably went, I'll have a little closer look at that.
Yeah.
There's like little moments like last week when Richarlison, I know he got criticism for it when he headed the ball out and he went down. It's like, well, he got a head injury. You have to stop the game.
That's right.
You have to stop the game for a head injury. You have to be clever. People calling it the dark arts. People calling it time wasting. I don't care. At times in the game, you are going to be pulled. We saw it last week in the derby. They brought a couple of players on, and they just started hammering us. And of course, you're gonna find a hole.
You got to take the fouls.
You got to start lying down.
But you make a great point, though. Think about it. Seamus Coleman made a mistake in the first goal last week.
Yeah.
Just didn't check his shoulder. That's just pure concentration. He knows better to do that. It's a lot easier to concentrate when you got a couple breaks every now and then.
Exactly.
And we managed that game. I never really thought they were going to score. I don't know why I thought that, though. You know what I mean? Because they had chances.
Do you know what?
I just didn't think it, though. Is that just belief? Is that dumb belief? How did you feel?
I was so caught up in the game, right?
Yeah.
And I tell you, when they say that, when they have that thing where the people say when you're watching a movie and they say, it took me out the movie, something will happen in the movie.
Yeah.
Right. Where you sort of go, oh, I'm not here. I looked over it and I seen Lukaku warming up and it took me out the game. It was like, I forgot about him. I forgot that he would play, that he was on the bench.
It's okay.
Yeah, after the game.
And then he made the sub. He made the double sub and I was like,
oh crap.
He didn't bring Lukaku.
I don't get that.
He didn't bring Lukaku, and I was like I could, because we were like, they're going to bring Barkley on.
Something that's not right.
Oh, he doesn't want him. No. And now the Russian guy's gone, he doesn't need to play him.
Yeah.
That's it. But I was thinking, they're going to bring Barkley on, and they're going to bring Lukaku on, and it's like, I'll be honest, I didn't even know Barkley was on the bench. I was like, so in the game that you start thinking up every bad scenario. But I looked over and seen Lukaku, and I was like, oh my God, I'd forgotten about him. And then when he didn't bring him on, it was like, for me, it was just, it lifted me up. And I don't know whether anyone else got a lift off that, whether even our players, because they've got a lot of good players.
I thought they needed that, though. They needed just having someone as a focal point.
A battering ram.
Yeah,
a battering ram.
Right.
Someone to give Mina a tough game. And to me, when they didn't bring him on, it wasn't like I was thinking, right, we're going to get through this, because anything could happen. But I was thinking, that guy would have changed the game for them, in my opinion, because we've seen him, we know how good he is.
Yeah.
And them not bringing him on was just like, well, we're going to do the same things, but we're just going to do it differently. And I hate when coaches do that, or managers do that. To me, when you make a sub, it has to be something that changes what you're doing. Like, I've seen it a million times with Everton managers where they'll go, there's no creativity. So instead of changing the creative source, they change the striker thinking there's going to be a different outcome.
Yeah, no.
You know, the guy still doesn't get the ball.
Right.
And that to me was like, it lifted me up massively.
I just think it makes it easier. Like when you're tired, the last thing you want to deal with, and I played plenty of center half in my day, I don't want to deal with some big guy like my size that can knock me over.
Yeah.
I'd rather deal with Kai Havertz getting all upset, and Mina just kept going. I mean, just was relentless on him over and over. And I
That's
think
what we want to see, though.
I think they looked a little defeated, man.
Yeah,
really.
I thought that before the game.
Yeah.
I was like, if we can get 1-0 up and we can
Their
frustrate
mentality
them.
just went...
Yeah, grind
Because
them.
they got nothing to play for.
They don't.
And that's what we have to do in the next few weeks, is go against these teams. We've got nothing to play for.
Yep.
Get a goal up and just say to them, we're going to bore you out this game. We're just going to be all over you.
Do you really want it?
Do you
probably don't.
really want this?
Because we're going to make it horrible for you.
And that's where, like, Burnley have been picking up points in the last few weeks.
That's
Getting
true.
that lead against teams who don't really care. And that's what it frustrates me about this time of year in the Premier League, is there's so many teams who have nothing to... That's why I think there should be a playoff system for teams for the last European spot. But if you go and watch the footy show, the Premier League show, you'll see my feelings on that, because everyone would have something to play for. There's too many dead rubbers at this time of year, too many teams who've got nothing to play for, and I mean, it might benefit us. But... You know, you mentioned it before. We had that one big chance from Damari Gray with about 3 minutes, 2 or 3 minutes to go. And he literally just needs to keep it low.
Yep.
And it's in the corner, it's 2-0, and everyone's...
Shanks it high. And
But
it's
the guy comes in, doesn't he? And he... I think, was it Rudiger comes in, I think, and just puts a leg in, and it... And I'm thinking it's in all the way. I'm right behind it.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, we had a couple other opportunities too where we didn't really get the resulting chance. But that's what I was most encouraged about. I mean, the last 7 or 8 minutes, every time we won the ball and broke out, we looked dangerous. But
It's
hey,
like,
look.
wait, might we score this time? Or it's like it's just kind of keeping you guessing. And
I don't want to guess, though.
That
I
would've been a lot more
don't
fun.
want to guess.
It would have made the last 10 minutes a lot better, that's for sure. But hey, you know, look, we saw it out. It eventually happened.
7 minutes.
Oh,
It's
I
like
know.
we
You knew
gotta
it was gonna
score
happen,
here.
though.
Where'd you get
You knew it was
7
gonna
minutes
happen.
from?
Because it's the Premier League and it's
Where'd
a Big
you get
16.
7 minutes from? Like, nothing happened.
A goal
like,
and Pickford, that's it.
A goal, a Pickford, and a few subs.
Yeah, it's...
Like, wow, that must have
You didn't
been
see that coming. I
completely
saw that coming a mile
over-exaggerated.
away, man.
It was like overtime in the sport you watch. There's no need for it. It's like 7 minutes.
Yeah.
Where'd you get 7 minutes from? And you know, they had the one chance, as we mentioned before, where Pickford done well.
Yep.
A lot of pressure, but we dealt with it really well. And just to see Mason Holgate chest that one, but even John, just pick it up.
I know.
Just pick
My
the
goodness.
ball up.
Yeah.
My heart.
Heart attack.
146
Same.
beats per minute. My heart was going. I actually looked at
Are you kidding? You actually looked?
Yeah, 146 beats per minute.
Because that's his first intention.
I was just
Like,
screaming
he's
like
like,
an
let
asshole.
me look at my heartbeats.
I think you and I looked
didn't
at
have
each
to-
other like, oh my God.
Like, Pickford, what are you doing?
I didn't have
Pick
to
it
look
up.
at it, to be fair. I could feel it coming through my chest. But the relief at the end, unbelievable. And we've given ourselves a big stepping off point, haven't we? You know,
We have.
2 points behind, game in hand.
Yep.
Leeds are back into it now. The fixtures aren't...
Leeds has a brutal schedule ahead of them.
Yeah.
They're tough. Ours is certainly, we're kind of through the hardest element of it.
Yeah.
I do not want to go into that last match against Arsenal. And
No,
need
I
the
don't
results.
want
We
anything.
just got to fill in the hole that they're leaving us.
Well, we got a chance. We got a chance now, and that was a huge, huge way to move us forward towards it. And I think it was definitely because we attended the game.
I think so.
Yeah,
But does that mean you have to stay now?
I've been told that.
Max,
Well, we'll see if I don't pass my COVID test.
Let's
God
be
knows,
honest.
I don't trust those things.
I'll be honest, Max, school's a write-off. There's no point. It's a write-off.
Yeah, I mean.
Look at Jake Paul. You can't tell me Jake Paul went to school.
Yeah, except he
never
kind of
went to
got like one of the most disliked videos on YouTube. So maybe he needed more
There's
school.
no such thing as bad publicity, Max.
Max,
Oh, maybe there is.
Max, people hate me. It doesn't matter. Have you seen your dad's Twitter
They hate
account?
Jake Paul more.
That's some people don't. Sadly, I'm really not that mean a person.
No.
No. Yes. Maybe I put too much
The
energy
internet
into it.
creates
Mania,
villains,
my friend.
villains. Let's have a look at the stats. See, like 9 shots, 17 to 4, 5, 2 big chances. We scored 1. I did not realise the possession was that low for us.
Well, I mean, a lot of their possession was kind of on the
Yeah.
outside.
I don't
And, you know what, though? The way those possession stats sometimes are calculated, on set pieces, goal kicks types of things, it can be a little misleading. I thought we were dangerous at times, though, and you can't argue. 4 shots on target.
I actually don't care. Like, my sweet spot is 38%. That's my sweet spot for possession. I think that's where you want to be.
I mean, I like stylistically having the ball personally, but
no, don't get me
not
wrong.
in this match. Who cares?
Who
cares?
One day, I hope to have a team that has
Right.
But also, we did have a team. I watched Everton have 60% of possession at Anfield and got beat 4-0, and they missed the penalty. So I'm not. It's what you do with it.
Yeah, it doesn't mean everything.
I want possession that leads to after 5 touches leads to a shot. That's the kind of possession I want.
Yeah.
So that you win it back straight away. That's the kind of position I want. I don't want to watch my centre backs go ping pong for the whole game. I don't want that. So
No, that's just a defensive tactic.
But I mean, truth is, they didn't capitalize on their chances.
no,
They didn't try to make the most out of it.
only one stat matters, and it's
We pretty
won.
much got 4 out of 9 on target, which
That's it.
is what we always
Exactly,
want to
like
see.
nearly half of
like
you.
half
not bad.
is perfect.
And those
we
are
have
big
to
chances,
make,
too, if you think about
Yeah.
it. The Richarlison goal is one thing. Mikalenko's shot was not on target, but that was an incredibly dangerous chance. Gray had the one at the end. I mean, look, I don't
Those
think
are the ones we want to see.
Pickford did come up big. I don't know if I'd say he stole us a point, though. I thought we were very dangerous, and we certainly at least deserve 1 goal.
Yeah. There you go. What a day. I'm exhausted. I could talk about it all day.
I am too.
But I am honestly exhausted by the whole day. So there you go. 3 points. Got on to the next one. Big thanks to Ryan and Max for joining us. You can catch Ryan on USA Toffee Pod. Available everywhere, I imagine. Anywhere you get your podcast.
Yes, sir.
Go and check them out. Max will be coming to a YouTube channel soon because... Don't say maybe, just do it. You can do school and you can do YouTube and you can make school go. Do a project on something. You go, I started a YouTube channel and now I earn more money than my dad. That sounds like a good project, doesn't it, to do?
So I love lessons in fathering from Ped. Which we should all be slightly terrified about.
Yeah, I mean, listen.
Ped's like my big brother.
There you go. I'll be your YouTube brother if you want and you can come to me for advice. But if you ever get a bigger channel than me, there'll be words. Unless it's on fishing.
No, we'll just have to make collaborations.
Yeah, we'll do collaborations.
Exactly.
But we won't be walking through any
What is
Japanese
happening
forests.
here?
Heck
No, walking
No,
through
no,
any
no,
Japanese
no, no,
forests.
no, no, no.
There you go. Thanks for watching. See you later.
Bye.